Today on Queen Me, I am joined by a true force in the world of money, leadership, and legacy building. And I'm very lucky to call her a friend, a mentor, a role model, just someone that I personally think everyone should know. Jennifer Love is a seasoned entrepreneur, money therapist, and the CEO of Livewell Institute, where she guides mission-driven leaders to redefine wealth, align with their purpose, and live their legacy from the inside out. Now, she has over 25 years of experience in the C-suite. And if you look at her background, her whole just long resume, right? It's
So damn impressive.
yes. It is long and it is amazing. She's raised capital, scaled businesses, just recognized, right? You have Oprah's list. She's had a chocolate company that was in Costco stores, just all of these things, right? But she's really more than that. And she's really focused on this inner alignment, helping leaders like you reclaim your worth and really build a life that you want and that feels as good as it looks. So today we're going to talk about lots of things, but especially this trap of the hustle, which I know a lot of people are interested in, and what it really means to be wealthy, right? And this emotional side of things in today's leadership landscape. So, Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us.
What a nice setup there.
Yes,
Thanks, Ashley. Yeah,
of course. When we first connected, one of the things that really excited me was that your path is really anything but conventional, right?
that is for sure.
You've
That
done
is
it
for
all.
sure.
Entrepreneur, therapist, speaker, advisor, just badass woman, right? You've done it all. I want to hear about that journey a little bit and maybe some of the things we call them queen moves, but what are some of the things that have really shaped your journey? Can you take us back and talk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I think we're all, I see it. I mean, this has been my journey, but I see it in in those that I work with too. And that is those early imprints. Those early childhood imprints really do set the stage for so much of how and who we become and the decisions that we make, especially uh, especially if we're not uh, aware of the impact, if we're not conscious to how this is actually driving our behavior. It can do some interesting things in unexpected kinds of ways. And for me, that started at 3. Um, and I could hear my parents fighting behind their closed bedroom door. My dad's yelling, he's punching holes in the walls, and he comes storming down the hallway past me. And my mom's sitting on the bed crying, and I go to her, and next to her are the cut up credit cards. And she looks down at the little 3-year-old me and she says, "Your dad's leaving, he's not coming back, and we don't have any money." And so that was a real demarcation point in my very early life, right? What I made that mean and the imprint of the core wound that created inside of me was I'm not lovable because I'm too much. Now, see, my father, the same man that walked out the door, had told me that I like a lot of attention. You like a lot of attention, Jennifer. And, somehow that was shameful or wrong when really what I was efforting to do is just have an exchange of love with him, right? But we internalize these kinds of things and we make meaning of these kinds of things. And it did. I'm not lovable enough because I'm too much. Right. Well, wait a minute. When we actually begin to compost that for ourselves and we realize that, wait a minute, on the wealth dynamics, I'm a star. I'm meant to get a lot of attention. It's not about not getting attention. It's about what am I doing with that attention? Like shining it on important, issues and topics and people, right? And it's like being a steward of that attention, right? And so when we take a core wound, and instead we go down the route of, oh, I've got to prove myself. I've got to show that I'm worthy of love. I've got to keep achieving, achieving, achieving. Well, and my number one strength on the Strengths Finder is achiever. So man, I know how to go get shit done. Mom said 2 things about me. She's like, you never met a stranger and you came out running. Don't ask an achiever not to achieve, Ashley. It's not going to go well.
Mm-mm.
You can't ask achiever not to achieve.
Mhm.
You gotta change the question. What are you achieving? Are
Yes.
you achieving? Are you achieving because you're trying to prove your worth? Or are you achieving because you're clear about the life that you want?
Mm, mm,
Right. And so that became really kind of part of my journey from that core wound into alchemizing. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have to prove my worth anymore
mm,
through like all this external stuff and validation of like success and what that meant, something outside of me, money in the bank account, real estate, accolades, awards, all the things. Attention, attention, attention in a way that like because I was so emotionally bankrupt on the inside, because I
mm,
hadn't done the work
mm,
to to come back to loving myself and realizing, oh, wait a minute, honey, you don't need to do that like
mm.
that. You can just like, do this because you're clear about what you want for yourself. So in terms of a queen move,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Mm,
I stopped running from myself.
mm,
I stopped hiding from my pain.
mm.
That was a queen move.
Oh,
The courage to actually look inside and face what didn't feel so good and what was running my show.
mm, mm.
And then from that place, another queen move on that chessboard of life was to say, oh, I need to, there's in order to get to the law of attraction, I first gotta go through the law of subtraction.
Yes.
I gotta clear out some stuff. Now we know this, like in the physical realm, like in your house, if your house, your room, your desk, your workspace is cluttered, it just doesn't feel that great, does it?
Mm, mm-mm,
And it's taken up all this space and it's not leaving room for other things to really flow into our life. I mean, Marie Kondoit, right, has literally become a term
mm,
for a reason, right? Because the material things in our life are actually taking up and consuming our energy and our thought waves and our space.
mm.
But it's also doing that on an emotional level,
Yes.
our
Mm,
thought level, our physical level,
mm,
right? And so the moment that we're like, wait a minute, what are the energy vampires? Where are the energy leaks
yes.
in myself, in my life that I need to close up and stop? And that probably means some boundary setting. That probably means stop overgiving,
Yes.
undercharging,
Mm,
like living on the feast and famine cycle,
mm,
literally saying, I hate money.
mm-hmm.
Or being afraid of making more because you're going to be too much and a man won't love you and you'll end up alone, or a friend won't like you anymore and will be jealous of you, so you just can keep playing small and taking less. Or avoiding your money and your numbers altogether and not managing it, not understanding it, like playing dumb.
Mm,
Yeah. And so uh queen move, law of subtracting all of that. So
mm,
I can make space for attracting who I am from a place of who I am, that getting clear on the North Star of who I am, life design. I'm a manifester. I'm
mm,
a star, you know.
mm,
I am meant to be using my voice as an instrument for love.
mm,
That's me. That's not everybody else. You have your own way and your own flow for how wealth and purpose and energy want to move in and through you, right? Finding your way, not my way, finding your way,
mm,
right? And so the law of subtraction to get to the law of attraction, another queen move,
mm,
opening my heart,
mm,
opening my heart and finding ways to keep my heart open no matter what, which means that I find my way into a state and a place of gratitude for all that is.
mm,
Even, I call it even the shit, the
mm,
struggles, S, the heartache, H, the intensity, I, the tension. T.
mm,
If I can find the gratitude no matter what, because I know life is happening for me, not to me, then
mm,
step out of being like in the victim role. I might have been victimized, yes,
mhm,
But do I want to identify as a victim and therefore live from a place of that? Or do I want to alchemize that, keep my heart open, saying there's magic and lessons in this for me, and I'm going to be grateful for what that is, and I'm going to go gold digging and treasure hunting for those lessons and find my way into a state of gratitude for it all. So one, I don't have to keep learning it over and over and over and over and over and over again, like I'm stuck in some damn cycle I don't want to be in, or in a broken record, right? Or that I can actually really heal that pain, that
Mm,
stuff, that trauma, that addiction, that way of being that's no longer serving me,
mm,
that's not helping me, that's hurting me.
mm,
And recognizing that love ultimately is the guiding metric for every single exchange
mm,
with myself, with everybody else.
mm,
Queen move.
mm,
Another queen move, which was a breaking point for me in
mm,
2014. I was running Nibmore
mm,
chocolate, my wholesale chocolate company. We started in 2009. 2014, we were listed two years in a row as being one of the top candy brands in the United States.
mm.
Okay, we had hit all the press you could probably ever want to
Yeah.
achieve as a brand, truly. We're in Costco, we're in the spaces and the places, but my business partner who had started the company with me and our investors were fighting, and they were literally yelling at each other.
Mm,
I remember just sitting in this meeting with them on the phone thinking, this is not how I want to be in relationship with anything I'm growing anything with anyone with.
right.
This is not it.
Mm-mm.
And shortly after that, I resigned from the CEO position, kept my ownership position. We brought another CEO in and I walked away.
Mm,
Queen move.
mm,
Queen move. And we ended up selling exiting. I ended up exiting the company late last year, 2024, November, after what, 15 years. And a deep bow. I'll never forget the day that I was sitting, this was in New York City. Um, right really close to Grand Central Station. And we're up and you can picture the whole boardroom scene, right? We're all sitting with the investors, my partner, myself, I'd signed the resignation letter and we're talking final discussion. And I had poured my heart and soul into this business,
mm,
and so to choose to walk away from it the way that I was choosing myself, but it was hard. It was damn hard
mm,
to to do that after having given so much of myself to it, right? I walked myself out of that meeting over to Grand Central Station. I sat my butt down, and I think it was about 2.5 hours. I sat there and I literally wrote all of the things that I had learned. I wrote down all the things I had learned
mm,
through those years of that business. I wrote down what I was grateful for. I wrote down things I would never do again. You know,
mm,
and I just sat there and alchemized what it was for me in choosing myself and my
mm,
worth. That was a queen move
mm,
for me.
mm. What I love about how what you share is that it is always going back to the gratitude. I mean, being so thankful for the experiences that you've had and what you've learned. To walk away from something that you've built. I mean,
Literally birthed
yes.
if you're out of your, business vagina.
Yeah. It's true.
It's true. We know what I'm saying.
Yes. And to walk away from that. I mean, and one of the things too about, your story is that because, you scaled businesses, you've exited all of these things, but it almost sounds like it was this string, right? I know sometimes people, and I think originally I was thinking of asking, what was that spark or that shift that, you know, made you want to now go into the work that you're doing now? But I feel like it was always the string of you always knew that you know, love is the tool. That's the instrument, right? And now the work that you're doing now, I feel like it had always connected with your entrepreneurial vision, right? Um,
It's true.
yeah.
It's true. And what's interesting about you saying that is, looking back, and this is part of the work that I do with folks too, is helping them get clear about what their purpose is, right? Because I love to support the mission driven. And to be mission driven, you really need to be connected to purpose. You only get clear on on business purpose when you really get clear on your own.
Mm,
And and though while they're related, they're not always exactly the same, right?
hmm
So the core wound for me, and I think of the core wounds kind of like in the analogy of an oyster. And so the oyster being me or you,
hmm
right? There gets this piece of sand in it, right? And it's
mm
such an irritant. It's so uncomfortable. It's painful even.
mm
This piece of sand that's inside the oyster that we are. This core wound for me was this: I'm not lovable because
mm
I'm too much. That was the core wound. And so I had to go prove myself. I had to do all these things. And I leveraged a lot of my strengths and my design, but I did it from a place of brokenness, not wholeness.
mm
Right.
mm
And and so then, okay, but when we heal, when we alchemize that wound, what's the core gift inside of it that becomes that beautiful pearl that you've worked over and over, layer after macro layer, right? And for me, it became that, well, of course, I am a bright light of love.
mm
That is my core gift in the world. Okay, so how does that translate out into my purpose? Well, I'm here to restore love in the way we exchange. How does that translate out into my business purpose, my mission statement? Well, I mean, I guide the mission driven and building wealth, well-being, and legacy on their terms,
mm
root, rooted in love.
mm
And knowing and being guided by the North Star of love is our ultimate metric for
mm
exchange. You can see how that core wound
mm
has worked through to become this pearl that becomes the purpose that then becomes the life work.
mm
And when you operate from that level of clarity of self and you work through the shame, you work through the fear, you work through all the things, and then you become so resilient, filled with gratitude. I call it gratitude, grace, and grit.
Oh.
Gratitude, grace, and grit, right?
mm
Yeah, that's the ultimate formula to success for me.
mm
Success really has become a new definition.
mm
It's no longer about something that I can achieve outside of myself. It's about how at peace can I and am I? It's
mm
about how satisfied am I? It's about how open am I? It's about how much do I love and let myself be loved?
mm
That's my measure of success these days.
mm mm Love that. I love that so much. And I don't think I ever told you this story, or I think that in the time that we've known each other, because really it might surprise people. I mean, we really haven't even known each other that long, if you think about it. But what is was interesting is that before I met you, you know, oftentimes people would be like, okay, you have your business, what's the goal? And I remember saying, well, I want to build it up enough so that I can start, investing in other, women's companies and brands, and like I want to build wealth. Like I would say that to people, right? They'd say, what is that? I said, I want to build wealth. And then when we met, you really got me thinking, because I think one of the first things that you said to me when we had our first phone call was, your meaning of wealth. You said wealth isn't just about money. You're like, it's not. I mean, there's so many layers to it. So then now, as I've sort of grown in the business, I've taken that with me, and I've said, yes, there is that aspect of money and, right, your livelihood and building things, through that. But there's also that element of, do I really want to work with somebody that doesn't align with my values or who I am? Do I really want to, bring on this client, even though I know that they'll pay X amount, when I just don't feel good doing the work?
Yeah.
So because of you, there was a client that I had actually turned down because I said, I can't do it because it didn't align. And I knew it brought me back to our conversation about do you the feeling of it, right? So can you walk through people listening here about this because it
Yeah.
helped me so much breaking down like when people say wealth, really what
What
is that?
is that?
What is it?
Yeah, yeah. A few years ago, I actually hit the street here in Santa Barbara, and I just went up and asked like random people, like how do you define wealth? And just like recorded them. I've got like a little Instagram kind of like thing around it. And it's really interesting because when you look up the definition of wealth in Webster Dictionary and Oxford Dictionary, even the UN, the word that gets used throughout it is a possession. Wealth is a possession, something you possess. But when I hit the streets, that word never surfaced, not once. Not one person said wealth was about possession. They were saying things like it's about freedom, it's about security, it's about um, relationships. There was one kid who was like talking about it in terms of money, right? But there were so many other different things and ways that they were describing what wealth actually is. And I'm like, these folks are onto something. We know it. We actually know it already that wealth is multidimensional. It's multi-currency because and what is wealth really? And and I believe it's the way we exchange. It's the way we exchange is what wealth really is. It's how we are relating with each other in a variety of different ways. And we're relating and exchanging with each other so much beyond just money. We're exchanging in social capital, relational capital. Right? I have a gal pal who maybe doesn't have a ton of money in her bank account, but this woman travels for first class everywhere. She if you were to live her life, you'd be like, how is this woman living this whole life with the money that she has because her social capital is so high. She is banked with the people in her life. They just they fund it for her because of what she's doing for them relationally, interpersonally. That is a form of exchange, right? And we see in all these little alternative pockets around the world, that's part of what I'm super excited to be featuring in my show, Dear Money, Let's Talk, is like all these alternative, like different ways to look at exchange and how there are folks on the outskirts that are exchanging beyond just
Mhm.
financial. Right? We can exchange emotionally, we can exchange mentally, we can exchange in our interpersonal relationships, we can exchange somatically, our physical body and strength and constitution, right? And yes, of course, we can exchange energetically. Oh my goodness, that's a whole conversation just in and of itself. Boundaries, people. Um, and we can exchange financially, right? So the combination of wealth is really all of these different currencies and ways that we're exchanging, and how is that operating and functioning in our life with ourself and with other people. Money is never just about math. It's never just about dollars in an account. It is about meaning. Our relationship with money is one of the most emotionally charged relationships in our life because underneath the numbers, underneath the math are stories, our connections, our memories, our patterns, our identity wiring.
Mhm.
And according to neuroscience, about 90 to 95% of our behaviors are driven by our subconscious. We know in the research, the financial psychology research, that 90 plus percent of our financial decisions are made based on our emotions. These things are all connected. We know that if we're emotionally stressed, what's happening in the body? We know this now. We're smart enough now. We've come a long ways. We understand that there's a multi-dimensional connection between these things. Well, don't we think that's happening in our relationship with money? Yeah, absolutely it is. And, these emotions, when we bring conscious awareness to them, then they stop controlling us. Then we get to choose. Then we get to get out of the loops and the patterns and the ways of being with them, like undercharging, like overspending, like avoiding, like controlling, like proving, like not trusting, like hiding,
Mhm.
right? That the beautiful news is that we can begin to shift it.
Mm,
And in psychology, what we have learned is this concept called emotional imprinting.
mm,
And emotional imprinting comes from those earliest memories. I know I told you the story about the imprint of me as a 3-year-old, right? That
mm,
was around money, safety, power, and love.
mhm,
And that got stored in me and in my body. And so I was making all these kinds of decisions about money and the way that I was operating with status and power and control in my life. But eventually it burnt me out.
mm,
It emotionally bankrupted me.
mm,
So here I am with all this stuff, a whole huge, massive house,
mhm.
all these beautiful things, and I'm fucking miserable.
Yes.
Does this make any sense to anybody?
Right.
Does this make any
Makes
sense? Like
sense.
what? Right. So the work I hadn't done was getting clear on what I wanted and what real wealth actually meant. I had to come back. I had to go through a journey for myself of coming back to, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm not broken. I just got some pieces a little jumbly and I want to put them together so I can see myself clearly
Yes.
and just be me and have fun. And fun is my channel for wealth. I just sent out an email this morning to our community and I'll share it here. Today's Lionsgate, this is August 8th, 2025. This astrological, I mean, I'm not an astrologist, but I love to like learn from this stuff and I follow it and I use nature and moon cycles to like schedule the flows of my days and my year, frankly, because I find that it's just easier on me.
Mm,
It's just easier on my body and
mm,
on me as a human. So I follow this stuff. And in astrology today is Lionsgate. It's a more modern astrology term, and it's this day 8-8 being a power. Like a powerful numerological number of infinity sign. You can see the 8, it's an infinity sign, right? And that's the symbol of giving and receiving, right? Of abundance, of manifestation. So this is like known as a day where this kind of like cosmic door opens and it's a day to manifest. It's a day to receive and to give and to just get into that vibration and step across and step through the new portal of your life
mm,
around this, right? And so I was sharing uh, a story about uh, years ago, I was walking on the beach here in Santa Barbara and I just got this hit. I was like, I just immediately knew my grandfather was not going to be with us very much longer. I could just feel it. So I literally called him right there from the sand and I told him I was coming. And a week later, I was there and I spent a whole week with him and we're playing checkers. We're like going to Dairy Queen, getting a shake. I'm reading the Psalms to him out of the Bible because that was like one of the favorite things that and the Psalms are gorgeous, by the way. I love the Psalms. And so we're just doing all the things together, and when it was time to say goodbye,
mhm,
we just both had tears in our eyes. And
mm,
his final words to me were just enjoy life, not the ugly, wiggly kind that gets you in trouble, but just enjoy life.
mm,
Those were my grandfather's final words. Like a year or so later, I'm down in Venice Beach. I'm doing my first Kundalini yoga session. Wow, super intense. I walk out into the lobby. There's this tarot card reader. I'd never had tarot card reading before. I sit down. This guy does this thing. He pulls this card. He looks up at me and grins and he says, Your channel for wealth is fun. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Just have fun. I laughed, he
yeah.
laughed, and like it was just this funny moment. And yet I knew it was like the exact thing that my grandfather was trying to tell me in his final words. And so one of my values that I ended up adopting was what I call joyful loverous. That's smushing joy and love and adventurous together. And so that has become one of my guiding values is
Oh,
joyful,
yeah.
loverous. And that is my symbol of like just like my channel for wealth is fun. And when I'm in a state of fun, I'm open and I'm filled with love.
Mm,
And that is what I stand for and bring. And so I'm guided by that as a North Star for me. And how I make decisions about money now, how I
mhm,
make decisions about my life now, my lifestyle now, right? And so I've been on this journey, thanks, Grandpa,
mhm.
of, reclaiming the love for myself
Oh,
and joy in my life.
wow. And you had never gotten read a tarot reading before.
First time. I was like, oh, well, that sounds great. But like
Wow.
I, at that point, like while the obvious sounded amazing,
Mm,
you have to understand where I had come from. Like in my 20s, I was not sleeping 2 nights a week and drinking 2 pots of coffee a day just so I could keep working.
mm.
Right? So talk about workaholism, like full on, full blown poster child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Workaholic right here, Like, okay, is that the way that we want to live our life? I'm here to say it's not worth it. I was bulimic for those 10 years as well,
Oh,
right? So behind the scenes, like I'm putting on this front of like, yeah, I've got it all together, but behind the scenes, man, I was fucking falling apart.
mm.
Is that really wealth? I don't think so.
It's not. And
I don't think so.
that is so true. It's like people see it, and we hear this a lot now where people are talking about, oh, with social media, people are showing one thing and they might be feeling another. But that is so true, and that is so core because we know that there are leaders out there that look and that are, I mean, they look, but they are successful, but
Mhm.
they feel like, for lack of a better word, like shit internally. So I'm really curious. There's two things I'm curious about. I mean, one is why do we keep doing that to ourselves? And I know that I'm the
Yeah.
victim of that too. I mean, there are moments where I feel awful, but I'm like, gotta keep doing it. And then, but what steps can we start to do to really change that?
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to come back to like get clear about what that core wound is and how and start to courageously take a look, like have the courage to step into self-examination. I call it self-sciencing, right? There's a fantastic book, um, The Untethered Soul, Michael Singer. Pick it up, read it. It is so juicy. It is so meaty. It is like holy OMG that it's such a beautiful awakening to oneself. What was it? Aristotle, Socrates, these great philosophers of our past. An unexamined life is not worth living, right? So a great place to start is just through actually, I don't know, how about you just look in the mirror? Like just check yourself out on the inside. And that's the work that I do, right? It's like, hey, come on, honey, let grab my hands. Let's go on the greatest adventure of your life right there inside of you. You get to know yourself. And when you get to know yourself and you clean all that stuff out, you find love for yourself. And then you have the best time of your life. That's where all the magic is. That's where the peace is. That's where true liberation lies. And that's the place you want to be creating and building financial wealth from.
Mm. But to have someone go on that journey with you, because it's scary. It's
I get it. Like, I mean, I get like going on a roller coaster ride is scary. I get it.
Mhm.
I know, but like I make it way more fun and accessible for
Yes.
people to do it because listen, I've done it. I get it. It can be gnarly, but actually when we get to the place of unshaming ourselves
Mhm.
and into a place of accepting ourself, like our confidence grows, our worth grows, our bank account grows, and I see it time and time again. And then from that place of wholeness, our impact grows and becomes absolutely not only sustainable,
Mm,
but regenerative. And that's the seat that I like to talk about and sit in, is like that's what true regenerative economics is. When we all start to take that inner journey and make ourselves sustainable and then regenerative, then the ecosystem outside ourselves, the people who are running the systems,
mm,
why are our systems not sustainable? Because the people running them are not.
mm. So true. So true. And that's what I really, I mean, from our conversation, I mean, one of the things that I really want people to dive in more with you on is really your approach. And this kind of combines a few things, but I'm curious, especially among women. I mean, a lot of the work that when I'm meeting with women, when I'm talking with them, I mean, they have these conversations all the time. They're like, I don't feel good, but I keep pushing because it's a cycle. I'm on this like ride and I just keep going, right? So I want to hear about one, about how you guide people and your approach, right? And your approach
Sure.
to helping people lead and live. But I also am curious too about your approach with money wounds, especially with women. I'm really getting into reading more about women's relationship with money and just like, especially with like getting married and sharing and building a life with somebody and investing in your business.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
very complex.
So complex.
Mhm.
And like an absolute playground for me. Because I love this stuff. Because I love people in this stuff. This doesn't feel like work for me. It feels like a privilege and an honor to be able to walk people into this. And so my approach is, well, I mean, I've got two different kind of programming, but I come from this orientation of we can take our pain and turn it into something beautiful, right? So that is a guiding North Star. We can take our pain and we can turn it into something beautiful. And I have an acronym like our philosophy, Livewell Institute's gospel, you could say. And the acronym is wealth cast. Like, because you can cast your vision and your actions to create true wealth. Um, but you've got to get really intentional. And so this wealth cast is like a 10-part philosophy for creating true wealth. And it starts with the holistic, like building wealth in every currency you hold, like getting clear on that, which means that you've got to get clear about yourself. Like there's a whole process in Dear Money, Let's Talk that gets you clear on how is that three-headed drama llama showing up in your life and wreaking havoc in your relationship with money. And from that place of clarity, then, oh my goodness, you're like, I didn't even know that was going on. OMG. You get to choose again. I loved Staples years ago. I'm probably totally dating myself, and that's okay because I am turning 50 this year and I'm fabulous.
Woo!
So Staples had that little like round button,
Yes, I
right?
love that button.
Right. Well, I constantly imagine that was like a tool that I visually used, that like I would just constantly hit the reset button. Like I can just choose again. And and anything that we become good at in life requires practice.
Mm,
And to become fluent in anything, we've got to practice self-awareness, practice self-love, practice the way we're talking to each other, practice the way we're exchanging, right? Like practice in all of these different ways becomes essential. From a holistic lens, money is only one form of wealth. We are here to work with the full portfolio. Yes, I will help you learn how to work with your financial portfolio. Yes, I will help you grow your assets 100%, darling. But and also, I want your energetic, mental, emotional, interpersonal, and somatic portfolio to also grow.
yes.
Right. So the holistic approach to wealth building is the way that I take. Each currency feels the others, and when we tend to it, money becomes an amplifier of freedom and impact and joy, and not stress or depletion. We don't have to extract in order to receive.
Yes. Uh,
Yeah, and then empower, like the next acronym in well, the next word in the acronym of WealthCast is empower, right? Choose to lead your relationship with money. Take charge of it. Be intentional. Every interaction with money is an exchange that comes from two places, either empowerment or victimhood, honey.
mm,
What are you choosing? Are you staying in victimhood and playing out old roles of the victim? Oh,
mm,
this is happening to me. Then it's like the hero has to step in and save everyone and everything. And then the
mm,
bully is so pissed off that I've overgiven everything that now I have to control and dominate over to feel safe and valuable.
mm.
And so then I'm like, oh, let's end the three-headed drama llama show. Let's assign new roles. Okay, thank you. We want to love you for trying. Thank you for doing this. And I see why you did that now. And okay, but like there's another way.
Mm,
Empowered exchange, conscious, intentional relationships with money, value, and wealth
mm,
that honor ourselves first and yes, others.
mm,
And then the next word in that wealth cast acronym is to alchemize, transform struggle into our greatest asset.
mm,
The pearl that was that piece of sand, your pain holds the raw material of your power.
mm,
Here, we don't need to avoid or bypass hardship. We turn it into wisdom and strength and beauty. Every setback can become proof of resilience, and a
mm,
mistake just a simple source that creates sharper discernment in our life. Every heartbreak is a lesson in honoring value.
mm,
True wealth comes from transforming challenges into beautiful things that fuel our freedom and our impact.
mm,
The next word in that wealth cast acronym is leverage.
mm,
Oh, the sacred pause that makes your growth sustainable. Honoring our natural rhythms. Oh my God, you are not meant to be not sleeping 2 nights a week and dropping down, drinking down 2 pots of coffee a day.
mm,
My love,
mm,
that is not how this works.
mm,
So finding ourselves in the firemen and the Navy SEALs know it. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
mm,
Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. True wealth requires integration and time to absorb insights, embody changes, and let ideas mature into wisdom. White space isn't a luxury.
mm,
It's what turns every single effort into fluent mastery.
mm,
The next phrase in the wealth cast is tend. Tend to invest,
mm,
spend time like the precious currency it
mm,
is. Time is most infinite, non-renewable resource. We only get a certain amount of it, and yet people guard their money more carefully than they
mm,
guard their minutes, their seconds, their moments.
mm,
What is your present moment like? If we flip the equation, true wealth comes from an intentional investing of your time, your energy, your focus, your resources. Your satisfaction is so beyond your revenue. And when we align how we spend our days and are clear about the life that we want, then success becomes something that you actually get to live, not just work toward.
mm,
The next phrase here in this WealthCast acronym is honorable observer. When we've been talking about this, study yourself like a scientist, not a critic.
mm,
Lasting transformation starts with awareness, baby,
mm,
not judgment. Self-sciencing is a practice of becoming curious. Curious George. Remember Curious George?
Love Kitty.
Curious researcher of your own patterns and behaviors and results. My grandfather was one of the first scientists in the United States to work on penicillin. Can you imagine a team of scientists like that? Like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, guess just is not going to work.
Hmm.
No, honey. Get into the lab of yourself. Every choice, every challenge, every success is data and feedback that you can use to refine and adjust and evaluate. Here is where observation without shame creates holistic wealth with intention, clarity, and self trust.
Mm.
The next word in the acronym of WealthCast is clear. Make space so wealth can find you.
Mm.
Have fun. We believe the first step to attracting anything is to clear out what's blocking you, right? Like I talked about it earlier. It's like the law of subtraction before the law of attraction. Most wealth strategies are about like, what's your offer? Put in more effort, remove that mental block.
Hmm.
Okay, here's the next like whatever, in 10 steps or less. I don't know. It's ridiculous. I mean, I know, I get it. I bought into it too. But like that's not it. It's like, what's happening in you, darling? Subtraction creates the open space where true wealth can flow with ease on every level.
Hmm.
And the next word in this acronym, align.
Mm.
You are manifesting all of the time. See, this is the funny thing to me about the whole manifestation world. We're always manifesting. The question isn't, are we manifesting? It is, what are we manifesting? And are we doing it from a place of clarity and intention or from a place of autopilot?
Mm.
Ooh. You're not manifesting what you want because you don't know what you want.
I don't know.
And you're manifesting your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions in every single moment. The question is whether you're creating from wholeness and intention and clarity, or from your wounds, patterns, and scarcity. So here we align with our inner truth, and we align that with our outer action so that it creates the wealth that we actually really desire. The next word in WealthCast is stewardship. Take responsibility for your side of the street. Take responsibility and care for what's yours to create and to grow. Stewardship is full responsibility in action. Here we believe that wealth and joy and success are resources that you have been entrusted with. Mm, your own efforts by your success and resources. You've been given so many blessings. Are you squandering them or are you honoring them? Are you tending to them? Are you overspending them? The next word in WealthCast is transform. Turn challenges into your compass. We see obstacles not as roadblocks, but as invitations. The ancient philosophy, like I think it's one of the Asian philosophies, is the obstacle is the way. Very Taoist in nature. No, every challenge, whether a financial strain, burnout, or a strained relationship, is simply it carries so much exact wisdom of what needs to be done, what needs to grow, what needs to heal, what needs some love, what needs attention, what needs a pause, what needs a conversation. The obstacle isn't in the way, it is the way. Your role is to mine for your insight, refine the path, choose again, shape who you are as a leader to the vision of who you are and want to be. Cast your vision of wealth for your life, and you will be free. That's how.
Mm. I could listen to you talk about that. Like all the just you talk like I could listen to it all day. I'm serious. And what I love about it too is that when you say it in those ways, it feels attainable. It feels like I could do it. And it's so grounded in like gratitude, joy, but also like the honesty of yourself moving through that.
Yeah, and then all the strategy stuff just gets like it's no big deal actually. Because we're not chasing something, spinning in something, keeping ourselves stuck in something. We're all just like, oh, and by the way, that strategy for you isn't my strategy. Thank you, though.
That's, oh, oh, I love that.
Yeah, some of us are meant to create our own strategies.
Mm,
Some of us are meant to walk with others in theirs.
mm,
Some of us are meant to improve upon the strategies that are already here,
mm,
right? But what's true for you, you will only know when you know who you are.
hmm.
There is a great, I want to look it up. Give me just a moment.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite all-time sayings. It's from the Tao of Pooh, which is a book like about Winnie the Pooh, but like Taoism meets Winnie the Pooh. Um, highly recommend. Let me see if I can find this really quick. Oh yeah, here it is. I'm going to read this to you, okay? This says it all.
Mm,
How can you get very far if you don't know where you are?
mm,
How do you know what you ought if you don't know what you've got? And if you don't know which to do of all of the things in front of you, then what you'll have when you're through is just a mess without a clue. All the best can come true if you know what and which and who.
mm.
It's beautifully said.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh. And something that we've, have that relationship with. Um, it's just mm, beautiful. Mm, mm.
Come play with me, you all.
Yes.
Let's come play. Let's go on a great adventure together
Yes.
where fun is how wealth gets created. And wholeness and joy and peace and love are the way we live our life.
Mm,
Grounded in integrity and grace and gratitude. Yeah, there's grit, there's effort,
mhm.
there's energy. The whole story with the butterfly, I highly recommend reading about, learning about, listening to.
Yes, because my favorite line that you've mentioned so many times through our conversations is every pain holds the potential for beauty, and I'll always remember you saying that because it's so true. It's so true. And that's your that to me is why one of the reasons I wanted you to come on here so people can really learn that you're not just somebody that's saying, oh, we're going to do this. You've lived it and you've experienced it.
100%.
And that's what makes it so powerful.
Well, I think that when we've lived it and we've walked these walks, right, it's not that I've got it all together. I don't have it all figured out. I don't say I have all the answers, but I say I'm interested in
Yeah.
exploring, right? And I've done some work. I've seen some things. I've healed some stuff, and
Mhm.
I've created a life I love.
Mm,
And and I wake up in the morning and I love me, you
mm,
know. And to have gotten through from where I was to where I am today is nothing short of a miracle.
mm,
And to literally be bucked off a horse and lose your ability to walk and be told that you have a 10% chance of walking again and be able to stand up and walk out 14 days later and be able to see that kind of power in
mm,
self and meet oneself in that. It's not nothing.
mm,
And so there's so many nuances to my journey, but and also to yours
mm,
and to everybody's, right? And finding we're all walking our heroine's journey. We're all walking the hero's journey in our own unique, beautiful way.
mm,
And alchemizing that, finding your gift, your purpose, and being guided by your values what's important to you and making decisions, every decision from that place,
Mm,
you will not lose. You
mm,
will, that is the way to live successfully,
mm,
wholly, joyfully, satisfied,
mm,
from a place of love.
mm, mm. I'm so curious how you'll answer this because I think it's so layered. But, we end every episode of Queen Me with this question of what does it mean to unleash your inner queen and how do you tap into that power with your own life and leadership?
You know, the vision that comes for me is, do you remember Care Bears? I loved Care
Care
Bears.
Bears.
I
I
was
love them.
all about the Care Bears,
Yes.
right?
Love Care Bear.
For me, it's the vision of a Care Bear stare where I am my heart is wide open and I am allowing myself to fully receive all that is
Mm,
in life.
mm,
And I keep my belly open and I let it flow right out of and through me, right? Like Care Bear love.
mm.
Just fully open to receiving and fully open to giving.
Yes.
And there are days I do it better than others. And there are days that, man, I gotta reset myself, right? I gotta tune myself so that I can come back and be fully open to receiving and
Mm,
fully open to giving like a Care Bear stare.
mm, mm,
That's how I unleash my inner queen.
mm, mm. I could talk with you all day, every day. I mean, I want people to really it's just so powerful. I mean, you're showing us that not only that true wealth is more than numbers, we know that, right? But that it's this alignment and legacy with your heart and leading with your heart and with love. And you're helping so many people just build lives that they are so proud of.
So proud of, and yes, the money part comes in the stewardship of our money and the growth of our money and the time value equation. Yes, yes, yes to all of it, right? But we already know that part.
Mm,
That's not our issue, not really as a society.
mm-mm,
Mm-mm. Yeah,
mm-mm,
it's too much of that. It's too much extraction.
mm,
It's too much hiding, too much avoiding, too much like unprocessed emotional pain and not looking at the information of what the intelligence is, what that information is trying to communicate, how love is needed and required in spaces and places in order for money to actually really flourish and grow.
mm, mm,
And it often starts with the conversation with ourself. And from that place, then conversations with others. That's why I say, Dear Money, let's talk.
mm, mm. Incredible. Incredible. And for people to learn more about you and connect with you, of course, they can visit jenniferlove.com. But any other ways that people should get to know you, connect with you on Instagram, follow your work?
Yeah, so I'll be the Jennifer Love across Instagram, and LinkedIn is a great place to find me, and YouTube, and of course the show Dear Money Let's Talk on Spotify and like Apple and all those places.
Mhm, mhm. But please visit jenniferlove.com, read your story. Love's the is the metric for exchange and just the instrument to really empower yourself and everyone around you. Thank you so much for taking the time with us and spending this time with us. It's just so empowering. I so appreciate you and everything that you do.
Thank you for asking really good questions.
Of course.
Yeah, made it juicy.
I
Like it.
did.
Yeah, you did. Nice work.
You made it even more juicy after. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Many blessings, everybody. Bye for now.